Hello, my name is Geogen, and welcome back to World of Tanks. We're back on center stage with Dimmelis and Ilias in their Object 704s, Tier 9 Soviet tank destroyers, or one of two, the more popular one, compared to the Su-122-54, which I actually haven't played yet. They are top tier. They are also playing Sand River, a standard battle, and they've spawned from the eastern side of the map. Now, with a lot of tank destroyer players, this is the sort of place that they like to be when the map begins, because it is a ridgeline with a lot of overwatch over a lot of the positions. That was the most lucky T25/2 I've seen in a long time. Because, as you're probably well aware, this gun, 750 average damage and 286 penetration with the standard shells. It takes a snapshot or a blind shot at that light tank, WZ-131 I believe, and unfortunately it doesn't connect. The cannon sometimes hits, and sometimes it just doesn't hit when you think it will. Say if they're like 50 meters away in front of you. But regardless, it's kind of a slow-paced match to begin with, but that's kind of standard. The Object 74 does have armor, but it isn't, say, like a Jagdtiger. A Jagdtiger has much better frontal armor compared to this thing, although this is sloped and it is 120 millimeters thick. So, with some angling involved, you may well bounce several shots, and especially at distance. It takes another shot at a... I don't know what that was. I think it may have been a Panther. Yep, it was a Panther. But unfortunately, because of the range, just misses. So far you're probably thinking this isn't amazing, but trust me, it does get pretty good. Oh, damn! 1300 damage there, and that's what I'm talking about. It gets good quite quickly. The ammo rack there in the Panther goes off and gives Dimmelis here a good amount of damage. Ilias, I'm not sure how much damage he's done or if he's connected any shells yet, but give him time, he'll definitely get some damage in as well. There's a flank happening, however, with the IS-3 on the enemy team. Closing in from behind. Stock IS-3, unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for Dimmelis, he doesn't connect the shot, and neither does Ilias. Tiger 2 is opening up. Almost reloaded. I think Dimmelis probably has quite a good crew in this. Unfortunately, misses the shell again, but Ilias picks up his first kill with a 690 damaging roll, which is lower than the average roll, but I guess the IS-3 had less hit points than the average, which is kind of unfortunate when the shells cost quite a lot on this vehicle. So, things aren't looking too great if you're looking at the map. Most of his team are, well, they're in a sort of salient, they're in a pocket where they have to defend from three separate directions. From the north over there, where Dimmelis is looking now, to the west where the CDC are and the T-25-2, although they've been killed, and the south where the M46 Korea is as well as a Ferdinand. The north looks a bit more tricky right now, and that's a really unfortunate shot. Ilias gets a good one in to one of those enemies up there. Dimmelis is having some good luck and having some bad luck as well, but he's almost reloaded. Can he get the kill on that tank? No, he switches to the Tiger 2 and gets a very nice high roll. 846 damage done. The Freight Flinger is in action. I can't remember who... I think that was Rodney who said that in one of the videos in the comments. But yeah, I like that con. The Freight Flinger is what this tank can be in terms of when it hits and penetrates and kills. Takes a hit in the side from the CDC, damaging the fuel tank. You hear the sound there of draining of fuel. Gets another hit in the side from the CDC, although it isn't spotted. he is probably spotted from the AMX-30. The AMX-30 probably has a good crew and view range. He's also knocking down trees, giving away his position, but he is crawling back away from the ridgeline, giving himself some solid cover in the form of the sand dune. Ilias is now taking fire from the side. Again, most notably, or most likely from the CDC. AMX-30 is taken down from the help of the Crusader SP, Tier 7 SPG. Ilias is still taking damage, but he's still in this fight, and the platoon have 5 kills in total. So a third of the enemy team belong to them. It's quite a close fight at the moment. 6 vehicles remain on each team, and Dimmelis decides to push forward. The Object Zone 4, as you can see, is not a exceptionally slow vehicle, but it isn't exactly fast either. And that's what the SU-122-54 has in comparison to this vehicle. It is a much more mobile vehicle because, well, it's based on the T-54 chassis, I believe. It is in the name, and I assume that's the case. And it has a better engine. This, on the other hand, is based on the IS-3 chassis. So it is a tad slower, but it still has a top speed of 37, as you can see at the bottom left. Ferdinand makes an appearance, and 2 shots from the platoon shut him down. The Ferdinand is quite a well-armoured tank destroyer, but unfortunately, the Rheinmetall takes Ilias out. So it just leaves Dimmelis with 3 allies, and an enemy team with a Type 4 Heavy, a CDC, a Rheinmetall Borsig, which was last seen in the south. Well, it's actually not been seen, but we know he's in the south because Ilias has been taken down from that direction. And also there's a Lorraine artillery. So the teams are somewhat balanced in terms of how many tiers remain, how many vehicles remain, and the tiers are slightly imbalanced, but well, it's a very close match, and now it's got even worse because that Rheinmetall has taken out the IS-3, who is on very low health. But we now know where the Rheinmetall is headed. It's probably headed right to the corner K0 and J0 line in order to try and flank round and probably hunt the artillery. Dimmelis decides, therefore, he needs to go and assist the T-10, who is being flanked and surrounded by the CDC, as well as artillery has been spotted, probably lining up a shot on the T-10. T-10 unfortunately gets taken down, which now leaves Dimmelis in a 2 versus 4 situation, and the Type 4 Heavy was on full health, but he sets him on fire for 983 damage, getting a good side shot in. This is what this gun does, it hits like a freight train. So situation is not looking too bad if you have all the enemies in front of you, but the artillery just takes out his driver, which is not great. Like I said, the mobility is not brilliant in this vehicle, but it is somewhat okay, well, when the driver's in action. Takes down the Lorraine 15550, who peaks a little bit too much, and Dimmelis has better view range than I think Lorraine expected. CDC makes his push, trying to use his mobility. Dimmelis gets a slightly above damage roll in, and the enemy Rheinmetall takes him down. Oh my word. That is incredible luck. And the AMX CDC gets very, very cross, which I would understand in his shoes. Dimmelis is now on a smidgen of his health, 287 hit points remain, and he still has to take out a Rheinmetall from the north, as well as a Type 4 Heavy from the south, which is probably trundling towards him right now. He's been spotted, likely the Type 4 behind him. There he is. He needs to get himself into cover. The Type 4 fires and misses, and that is a bit of luck. Well, not a bit of luck, a bit of fortuitous play there for Dimmelis, not for the Type 4. The Crusader Silver is still alive, still spotting the Rheinmetall. He's kind of a bit screwed though. The problem with the Crusader is it's not a hard hitting SPG, and he gets taken down So now it leaves Dimmelis on a 1 versus 2 situation. But Dimmelis has got the flank and he has loaded high explosive, which is a good call for anyone who doesn't know. The Ramatel has very poor armor and a high explosive penetration could do a lot of damage, 937 damage, possibly damaging his components inside. He's got to be lucky. Oh, that was close. The Ramatel fires at the strongest part of the armor, which is the mantle. Takes him down, probably setting on fire all of his remaining ammunition. 6 kills for Dimmelis, and he's still in this fight. Just taking a look at where that shell hit. Yep, right on the mantle. He's taken a few on the mantle actually, and that is a strong part of the armor of most tanks, especially these Soviet tank destroyers. Same with the ISU. Type 4 Heavy is pushed forward. He's angling somewhat badly. Unfortunately for Dimmelis, he doesn't get the shot into the Type 4 side. Type 4 has exceptionally strong frontal armor, but it is boxy. And if he can get the side armor, again, very thick, but it isn't angled. And therefore, if he can get a 286 pen shot in, it will do fine. He's pre-loading, well, he's about to load an APCR shell as his next shell, which will give him over 300 penetration. Just remind myself, it has 329 penetration. Type 4 Heavy shows himself can't quite get the shot, or he wants to go for the cupola, but then he realizes the cupola is actually quite well armored on the Type 4. Using this wreck, going for the tracking shot, perfect tracking shot. The Type 4 fires either in desperation or frustration and gets his shell embedded into the wreck of the Ramatel. Reloaded, looking for the shot. He fires high explosive, in fact, only doing 70 damage, leaving the Type 4 on 31 hit points, and he has no high explosive left. He used them on the Ramatel. He's loading another standard shell, not an APCR shell, which is interesting. Goes for the lower plate and penetrates, killing the Type 4, securing the game. 7 kills, full of action and a lot of pace right at the, well, towards the end of the game. Wow. The Freight Flinger in action. Very, very, very well played and an exciting match to watch. I've probably got a bit overexcited with the CDC getting team killed by the Ramatel, but, you know, possibly RNG, possibly a bad shot by the Ramatel, or possibly poor judgment by the CDC for trying to flank the Object 704 with Dimmelis driving it, because he embedded himself into a rock and basically gave Dimmelis cover from the Ramatel's gun, which then killed the CDC. So, a good game, very good game. We'll look at the post-game stats. So here we are with Dimmelis' post-game stats for the Object 704 on Sand River. He tells it, Object 704 almost failed. Well, maybe, but you didn't, and that's the main thing here. A Mastery Badge, unsurprisingly. A Bruiser, Spotter, Demolition Expert, Duelist, 5 for Effect, Shellproof, 53,000 credits, 4,500 experience. This was a ×3 first win of the day on a standard account. Would have been almost 80,000 and almost 6,900 experience on a premium. He got a lucky medal, which is witness an enemy vehicle being hit and destroyed by another enemy team player. He must be 10 meters or closer at the moment of its destruction. That was the unfortunate CDC on the enemy team, with help from the Ramatel, High Caliber, and the Top Gun. So all of these vehicles were damaged or spotted or destroyed by Dimmelis, as well as Ilias in their Object 704s. So he came top on his team on damage and base experience, 1,529 base XP, which is very, very good, and 7 kills. In terms of damage, Ilias came second, 3,255, which is very respectable. So these two did very good work. Dimmelis there carrying the game at the end. 19 shots fired, 15 hits and 12 penetrations, 7,000 damage, 7,100 damage, 3,000 of that in a sniping sort of stance. 9 hits received, 4 of which penetrate and 5 non-penetrations, so the armour blocked 1,650 in total, which is 50 more hit points I believe than the actual total of the hit points of the vehicle. So we damaged 10 vehicles and 7 of those were destroyed and did 1,500 spotting damage and travelled around the map around 2.41 kilometers. Breakdown of credits: spent a lot on ammunition and repairs, but no costs for consumables. The total profit was 8,000 on a standard account, which with tier 9 and 10 games is quite hard to achieve, so well played. And the rest of the stats you can see for yourselves. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. I certainly did. It was probably the most exciting replay or game of World of Tanks I've seen in quite a while. Wow. Not to say that other people have not had excellent games either, but that was just incredible in terms of the amount of luck, or not the amount of luck, but some luck, and the RNG saying, nope, you can't penetrate certain shots, but sometimes you can get the ammo rack. These are the kind of games that we play World of Tanks for, just for the sheer mayhem that happened in that match. But thank you, Dimmelis, and thank you, Ilias, for playing that game with Dimmelis. You two do very well for in a platoon together. The Object 74, very, very good machine, as you can see. If you've not played it, I'd recommend doing so. But, as always, I've been Geogen. This has been World of Tanks Center Stage, and I'll see you, chaps and chapettes, in the next one.